Hello book people, P.T. Hylton here. You know, as an author, I've been through the audiobook production process, working with narrators, working with producers, working with audiobook production companies. I've had some great experiences. I've had a few not so great experiences, but one thing that always thrills me is when audiobook production company, publisher can find the perfect narrator for this story, the perfect narrator for the author's voice. You know, I've worked with some great narrators, Therese Plummer, Gabra Zachman, Jay Snyder, just to name a few, have been a few of the people I've been really lucky to work with. But today what I want to do is I want to take you through my top 5 author-narrator pairings, because there's something really special about it. It's more than just a performance when the right narrator is with the right book. It's like, do they bring the right energy? Do they bring the right voice? You know, it's not just are they a good narrator, it's are they a good narrator for this? So that's what I want to talk about today. And kind of my arbitrary rules that I set up for myself, there's 2 of them. Number 1, it has to be the case that even if I buy every one of this author's books, if I see this narrator is narrating this particular author, I'm going for the audiobook version every time. That's criteria number 1. Criteria number 2 is I wanted it to be a narrator who is tied to the author's work, not just a particular series. So they have to have narrated not just one series from the author, but books in multiple series or multiple different standalone books. So for example, I really love Caroline Kepnes's You books, narrated by Santino Fontana, but because that's all one series, I didn't include that here. So let's go ahead and get to it. Here are my top 5. In no particular ranked order, it's just 5. Number 1, I'm gonna go with Joe Abercrombie and Stephen Pacey. You know, you might say there's a little bit of cheat on my rule because the books are in the same world, but when I think of the First Law world, in the multiple series in that, I'm hearing in my head the voice of Stephen Pacey, and I'm always going to go to the audiobook versions of those. Something about Stephen Pacey is just so well-rounded, and he fits so well to the complexities and the darkness of that world. It would have been easy to go to too dark with the narrator, but he just brings the right energy, the right well-rounded performance. He is just an all-around great narrator and fits perfectly with this world. Number 2, I'm going to go with Stephen King and Will Patton. I'm a big Stephen King head, as you may know if you've watched my channel before, but when I see that Will Patton name, I am going right to the audiobook. And I was thinking about this while I was putting this list together. I don't know if there's anything to the idea that a narrator and an author being from kind of the same generation, that helps with their understanding of each other. I don't know if that's the case or not. I didn't look at all the other people on my list to see if that held true for them, but it seems like Stephen King and Will Patton just have this really similar energy that they bring to this story that brings the stories to life in a really unique way. Will Patton just has this does a great job of balancing kind of a world weariness with kind of a sense of wonder. And that really fits with Stephen King's ethos and the way he writes, in my opinion. So Will Patton has done probably most famously the Bill Hodges trilogy, Mr. Mercedes, and the ones that follow that. But he also did The Outsider, which again is in the same world. But he's also done a few others, so I think that counts. And Will Patton and Stephen King are always going to be an automatic buy for me, an automatic audio buy for me. Number 3, I'm going to go with Will Wight and Travis Baldree. I'm a big fan of the Cradle series. It holds a special place in my heart. Some of those characters are really important to me. They're people that I will remember forever. And a big part of the experience to me was listening to it on audio. I feel like when I talked about matching the energy of the books to the narrator at the beginning, this is the perfect example of that. I mean, the Cradle series is a little bit bombastic, a little bit over the top at times, and Travis Baldree, the best thing that I can say about him is that he just brings, you could tell he is giving it 100% at all times. He is bringing the same bombastic energy. His character work is amazing. I think sometimes male authors can struggle with female characters, creating a voice that feels authentically female and doesn't feel just like they're talking high-pitched or something like that. But I really like the way Travis Baldree does it. His performance as Yaren in the Cradle series is top-notch, is awesome. So again, I think the Cradle series is one that if you are going to read that, audio is the way to go. That is the definitive edition of it, in my opinion. For number 4, we're going to go back to the Stephen King family here with Joe Hill and Kate Mulgrew. Kate Mulgrew did Nosferatu, she did The Fireman, and I think she also narrated some of both his novella collection, Full Throttle, and his short story collection as well. And again, this is another situation where I feel like she just energy-wise really gets Joe Hill's writing. I would say her superpower as a narrator is just bringing out the emotion, bringing these characters to life and really letting us feel their full emotional journey. And it fits with what Joe Hill is trying to do with these big epic books that take us on these rides with these characters from kind of a grounded emotional journey, but yet in a supernatural, often type of world. Kate Mulgrew does that very well, and I hope they keep collaborating in the future. I need more books, Joe Hill, and also I need them narrated by Kate Mulgrew. Okay, the number 5, the final book on my list. Oh, before I get to that, I was just thinking, do any of my book series, would any narrator fit my criteria where I feel like it's the definitive version and it's more than one series? I guess the only one who would be Therese Plummer. She did the Vampire World saga, and then she also did Wicker City. So there you go. I can't recommend my own, I guess, but if I could, that would be my honorable mention for myself. Yeah, and I would definitely call those the definitive versions. She takes my stuff and my co-writer stuffs and just really elevates it. Okay, number 5. We are going to talk about this. I said this wasn't really ranked, but I'd say this is my number 1. S.A. Cosby, narrated by Adam Lazarre-White. Let me just talk for a minute on S.A. Cosby. If you are any kind of a fan of thrillers, you like crime dramas, crime thrillers of any sort, and you are not reading S.A. Cosby, man, you gotta do that. You deserve good things in life. Why are you not treating yourself to, probably the best thriller author working right now, S.A. Cosby? His last 3 books, Blacktop Wasteland, Razorblade Tears, and All the Sinners Bleed, just incredible Southern writing. It's just some of the best books that I've read in recent years have been those 3 books. So do yourself a favor, man. Don't deprive yourself. Get out there and read some S.A. Cosby if you have not already. All right, so let's talk about his partnership with Adam Lazarre-White. Adam just so perfectly captures these stories. The gravitas he brings. All of S.A. Cosby's books are these crime thrillers based around main characters who have had some sort of, trauma or, injustice in their past that they're dealing with. And so there's always this combination of the gravitas, the seriousness of the situation with the underlying kind of sadness of what this person is dealing with. And Adam Lazarre-White just brings that to life so perfectly. I feel like if I ever meet S.A. Cosby, which would be awesome, and I had a conversation with him, when he opened his mouth, I would very much expect Adam Lazarre-White's voice to come out of his mouth. I'm sure S.A. Cosby has an amazing voice of his own, but that's what I would be expecting. So there you go. Those are my top 5 author-narrator combinations. Who are your top author-narrator combinations? Who did I miss? Put them in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.